want to talk to you about the two most really effective ways to make your marketing message more believable. Now, I want to start with this. Of course, it goes without saying that everything that you say in your marketing should be the truth, right? Like, hopefully I don't have to say to anybody, don't lie, don't do anything unethical, don't do anything shady, right? Like, be honest, be real, only tell the truth in your marketing. But it's also important to understand that just because you tell the truth doesn't mean that you are believable, right? I say it all the time. Not everything that's true is believable, and not everything that's believable is true. Your stuff, your marketing needs to be true and believable. Number one, right? If your prospects don't believe what it is that you are saying about your mechanism, about your product, they're not going to buy. Right? So it goes without saying that your prospects have to believe what it is that you are saying. When you talk about the benefits, when you talk about promises, when you talk about claims, when you talk about how your mechanism can improve your prospect's life and alleviate their pain and give them more of what it is that they want, they have to believe you. If they don't believe you that they're going to experience that, they're not going to buy. And I'll tell you that one of the biggest reasons why prospects don't buy is because they don't believe you. They don't believe what it is that you're saying. They don't believe that they will really experience the results that you are talking about. We need to change that. We need to fix that, because in order to convert, they need to believe you. They need to really believe you. They need to have conviction, right? Enough so to whip out their wallet and pay you. So there are two big things that I would highly encourage you to do, to focus on in your marketing, to make your marketing message more believable. Before I give you those two, little cliffhanger, little open loop there, which wasn't intentional. But before I give you those two, I do want to mention this, and this is something that I've talked about. This is something that I've actually been talking to my team about a lot every week. If you are a subscriber to the you get the recordings of the weekly internal training that I do for my own team. You've heard me talk to my team about this. And today, one of the things that you really need to do with your marketing, with your copy, with what it is that you're saying, is you need to look for the different pieces of copy that you feel could trigger your prospect to say, yeah, right. Like, no way. Whether it be an unsubstantiated claim, meaning you're claiming something and you're not offering any proof or evidence or support, or if you're just saying something in a very hyperbolic way. Like, if you are saying something, even if you're describing something, if you're talking about a claim, a promise, a benefit, and you are over exaggerating, you're pushing the boundary a little bit, you're embellishing too much, and you're saying something like, this works 100% of the time, or this requires 30 seconds to do, and you know that your prospect will say, no way. Like, no way is that possible. No way is that true. Yeah, right. What about this instance? What about that instance? You've got to either cut that copy out or you've got to tone it down. You are much better off making smaller claims that are believable than you are making big claims that are not believable. There's no value in a big, bold, audacious claim that your prospect just doesn't believe, whether it's because it's too bold or because it's just the way that you are presenting it, like the word choice that you're using is too hyperbolic, too exaggerated, too hyped up. You've got to tone it down. Remember, if your stuff isn't believed by the prospect, they're not going to buy. So you're much better off tightening up your promises, shrinking them down, making them even smaller, not as big, not as bold, not as audacious, if necessary, to make them believed, right? And so really, of course, what we want is the biggest, boldest, most audacious promise or promises that we can present, but that are believable. And so sometimes, right, like I have case studies, and I've talked about this before, I have case studies of some extraordinary results, like folks using the E5 method, generating, over $750,000 in one day, right? I don't talk about that often because it's very hard to believe. It's true, right? But it's very hard for the average individual to believe. And so I don't talk about that. I don't use that. You have to be smart enough to recognize when you're saying something in your marketing that is just too over the top for your prospect, and you've got to tone it down. Again, without beating a dead horse, you've got to be believed. And so with that out of the way, now let me tell you the two things that you can do in your marketing message to make it more believable. One is tactical and the other one is more strategic. So let's start with the tactical. And this is something that I just recently, I believe yesterday, posted about in the group. And what I'm talking about here is specifics and detail. Specifics in copy, in marketing, detail in copy and marketing are what give it credibility, are what make it believable, are really what powers the marketing message. In other words, right, like in direct response marketing, vague general statements, vague general ideas, vague general claims, vague general pictures that you're trying to paint are worthless. They roll off the back of your prospect. They're almost meaningless. They lack any kind of impact. The prospect can't picture a vague general statement in their mind's eye, and when they can't picture it in their mind's eye, it doesn't trigger that visceral emotional response for them, and we need that visceral emotional response from them. But also, right, these vague general statements, what I would really call puffery, right? Where there are words and phrases and adjectives and adverbs being used like incredible, awesome, amazing, fantastic, extraordinary, words like that that really just mean nothing, that are just puffery, that are there to kind of prop up what's being said, to make it sound incredible, right? To the prospect, number one, that's what they expect. That's what they expect from most marketers, most advertisements, most campaigns today. They expect that puffery, but it does nothing for them in terms of the impact, in terms of, right, like how it moves them. It doesn't move them. And it's not believable, right? To just say to somebody, you'll have more energy, you'll make more money, you'll feel better about yourself, your business will be better, your hair will grow longer, you'll have a nicer smile. All of those things, not only can they not, or do they not, generate that visceral emotional response because the prospect can't picture it in their mind's eye, you're not giving them anything tangible. Like you're not giving them a reason to say, this sounds legit, this sounds credible. What you're doing instead is you're giving them that puffery that they expect, right? That puffery that most prospects in most markets are going into campaigns like, yeah, let's see. This is probably going to be more of the same. This is probably going to be puffery. This is probably going to be somebody that makes it sound great and dandy and wonderful and candy and unicorns, right? But what moves people, what gives it this feeling of value, of education, of truth, of credibility is specifics and detail. And so when you're telling a story, you want to avoid what my friend, the late great Clayton Makepeace, used to call a bald story, which is a story that's absent of detail. You want to give detail so that they can see it, they can feel it, it's tangible. And certainly when you're talking about promises and claims and benefits, when you're describing the way that your mechanism works and how it's able to produce result, give specifics, give detail, give them something tangible. Don't just give these vague general statements. And so that's the first way that you make your copy more believable. Believable copy is always specific and concrete. It's specific and concrete, especially when it comes to promises and claims of benefit. Your promises and claims of benefit need to be specific outcomes. They need to be concrete. And a great way to know, like a great criteria to use to know if you've got concrete, specific, tangible claims and benefits promises is it measurable? Can the prospect measure, right, like their experience against what it is that you're saying? When you say to somebody, you'll make more money, let's say, a vague general statement, right? Well, how much more money, right? By when? Another $1, another $2? Like how much? Is it life-changing money? Is it just a little bit more money? Is it going to get me out of debt? Is it going to help me pay my bills? How long is it going to take me to experience that money, right? They can't picture it in their mind's eye. They don't have the same emotional response, and it's not believable because it's a vague general claim. And so we want to give them a very specific, tangible, and measurable description, right? So that they can see it, they have that emotional response, and so that they've got something to measure their own experience by. right? People want to buy things when they know what the experience is that they're going to have. What is the exact pain it's going to eliminate, frustrations it's going to eliminate, disappointments it's going to eliminate? What are the things that it's going to bring into my life? How much of those things? By when, where, how? Measurable. That's the first of the two effective ways to make your marketing message more believable. That, like I said, is tactical. The more strategic way, and this is big picture perspective, and this is absolutely positively grounded in the E5 method. I'll tell you, the single most effective way to make your marketing believable, right? This is hands down, bar none, and this is especially true today more so than ever before, is not client testimonials, right? Is not client success stories and case studies. Those are absolutely positively valuable. But today, more and more, what you're seeing is more and more direct response marketers using testimonials, case studies, endorsements, right? It's becoming like commonplace. Today, it's, there was a time years ago when if you had a plethora of testimonials and case studies, it was unique. It was an anomaly. It made you stand out. Today, right, the savviest direct response marketers in the majority of marketplaces know the value of that. But when everybody has it, right, it almost becomes like, it doesn't have the same impact like it once did. Just like I'll tell you, right, for what it's worth, and, I'm a friend of Russell Brunson. I'm a fan of Russell Brunson and ClickFunnels. I love what it is that he's doing. I love what it is that he stands for. But the 2 Comma Club Award, there are so many people that have a 2 Comma Club Award, right? That it no longer has the same impact. You got it. Okay. He's got it. She's got it. They've got it. This one's got it, right? It no longer has the same impact. No, what is most effective at making your marketing believable is when you explain how and why your unique mechanism with specificity, with concrete language, is able to produce the result. What is it about your mechanism, your method, your framework, your system that allows it to produce better results than any other method or system out there? You want to really give people conviction in your marketing message. Like, you want to give them a deep sense of belief. You want to give them an understanding, right? You explain how and why your method, your framework, your system, your approach, your unique mechanism works to deliver the result. And you explain and unpack why it is able to produce superior results compared to all of the other mechanisms, methods, frameworks, systems out there. And one of the easiest ways to do this, right? And there's kind of twofold. I talked about this at length recently, a couple of weeks ago during the live unique mechanism workshop, which, by the way, was just off the freaking charts, an entire day just about the unique mechanism. Unfortunately, I don't believe that it's publicly available anymore, but the next workshop that we're doing, which you guys will get notice of soon for a different topic, you should be part of. And if you're in the E5 Coaching Plus program, you get it as part of E5 Coaching Plus. But what I was going to say was this. There are two things to understand. Number one is, this is why I talk about interrogating your unique mechanism, interrogating your method, your process, your system, what you do. What do I mean by interrogating? I mean looking at your approach, your system, and asking yourself questions like, why do I do what I do? What is the reason why I do it? What is the reason why I do it in the order? Why do I do these 5 steps? Why don't I do 4? Why don't I do 6? Why these 5? Why do I do these 5 in this order? Why do I do this one first? What is the reason for that? What's the reason for why I do the second one? Why do I do it the way that I do it? Why do I do it how I do it? You see, because through that interrogation, through that questioning process, you will uncover your reasons why you do what you do. And like I said before, I have to believe that for every single one of you, you do what you do. You do what you do the way that you do it because you believe it's the best way. I have to believe that for each and every one of you, that if you believe there was a better way, you'd be doing it that way. Right? So really, without you even realizing it, right? The way that you are doing what it is that you're doing, whatever it is that you do, whatever it is that you teach, whatever it is that you show, whatever it is that you share, whatever it is that you sell, right? I have to believe that you believe it's the best way to get the result. Well, now you just need to spend the time interrogating your method to uncover why you believe that. What's the reason why? So that's the first step. The second thing is that once you've uncovered the reason why you do only these 5 steps and not 4, right? What would happen if you did 4? What would be lacking? What would be missing? What would be the gap? Why don't you do 6? Why is the 6th step unnecessary? Like, why is it a waste of time, right? And that's why you don't do it. Why do you do it in this order? What happens? What doesn't happen? What do you avoid? What do you see, right? Like all of that. Now, in your marketing message, specifically in the marketing argument portion of your campaign, all you've got to do is give those reasons why. See, reason why serves as a proof point. When I say, right, the reason why the big marketing idea, right, one of the pieces of the engineering stage of the E5 method, the reason why a big marketing idea is so effective at getting attention is because, and then I give the reason why. I explain why it is the most effective way today to get attention, to stand out in a crowded and saturated marketplace, and why it's compliant and why you can feel good about that. Right? When I talk about, putting together a SIN offer and why this approach to putting together an offer, the SIN approach, is far superior when it comes to producing conversions compared to any other method. The reason why is, and then I can give the reason why. See, so through the interrogation of your method, your system, your process, you are able to uncover your reasons why, which you already have. You just are probably unaware of it. You probably just take it for granted because, again, you're doing what you're doing because you do believe that it's the best, right? Because if you didn't believe it was the best way, you would be doing it a different way, right? And so all you've got to do is spend the time uncovering why you do it the way you do it. What does it produce the way that you do it? What does it avoid? What does it skip? What does it bypass? And then you use that you uncovered during the interrogation during your marketing argument portion, right? Of course, there's a lot more detail and CPB chunks and all that stuff that we teach in E5 coaching if you're interested. But the beauty is that you are then able to prove, to explain, to detail why your mechanism, your method, your approach is not only different, but why it is superior to everything else. That makes it believable. When you give your prospects something to hang their hat on, when you give them something to hang their hope on, it makes it believable rather than what the typical entrepreneur, expert, marketer does, which is just make a string of claims, right? It'll do this for you and this for you and this for you and this for you. And it's far better than every other way. And it'll do this for you and you won't experience this anymore. And they give no support, no evidence, no proof to back up what it is that they're saying. And all they're doing is expecting their prospects to trust them. That's all they're doing. They're expecting their prospects to believe them because they said it. But yet today, most prospects in most markets are jaded. They're skeptical, right? The biggest fear is that I'm going to be taken. The biggest fear is, yeah, right. No way, right? Yeah, you've got all these testimonials, case studies. Those can be fake. You can make them up. They're probably your neighbors, your family, your friends. Big deal. You got them on video. Maybe you coaxed them. Maybe you paid them. All of that kind of stuff, right? But what resonates? What is impactful? What leads them to say, I get it. I see it. I understand it, is when you identify, interrogate, unpack, and present your unique mechanism. And then, of course, with the E5 method, when you then do that and you get buy-in on your unique mechanism and you lead your prospect to see why your unique mechanism is not only different, but superior to everything else, when you then go into your SIN offer, which is how they get the mechanism in your product or service, they are going into that offer pre-sold. They're going in pre-sold because they already want the mechanism, because we already explained and proved why it's different and superior. And so they're going into your offer pre-sold. That's why when we add the SIN offer onto the end of an E5 campaign, that's why it produces such sky-high conversions, right? And so those are the 2 ways that you make your marketing message more believable. And so let me see here. So look at this. I don't know who this is. I hate that I can't see the names on this for some reason. Our E5 offer is absolutely killing it. I love to hear that. The claim of 300K in a day is not true because they don't understand what it takes to create a system that allows for that type of revenue. $10 EPC on the front end, not including recurring. When you go live again, can you give us a heads up like 2 hours before so we can get our wine and popcorn? This is like watching a great movie. This is a terrible movie. This is not a great movie. But I appreciate that. Interrogating your method. Wow. Interrogating, identify, interrogate, unpack, and present your unique mechanism. Yeah, that's the game. Like, and man, I just, today more so than ever before, like there's this weird combination. There's this weird kind of coming together of events that, people are more jaded, more skeptical. I think that a lot of people are more jaded and more skeptical. A big part of that is that over the years, it's just become easier and easier to put up a marketing campaign, to put up marketing pages. And so what that means is that, right, like when I first started, there was no content, there was no WordPress, there was no ClickFunnels, there was none of these things, right? Like everything had to be coded. It was nuts. Today it's brain dead simple, right? And it's only getting easier. And so what's happening is new people are coming in to markets, and because they're kind of brand spanking new, they're throwing up copy, marketing messages that are just hyperbolic, puffery, exaggeration, ridiculous claims, untrue stuff. And so the fact that it's now easier than ever before to put up a marketing message is a negative thing for us, because now, right, you've got to remember that the more web pages that go up, the more funnels that go up, campaigns that go up, all that stuff. Not only is there more competition, or really what I would better say as more noise in marketplaces, but a lot of that noise is just garbage copy, which puts prospects on guard, because it sounds like, oh man, all these marketing messages are just, it's ridiculous, it's over the top, it's right, blah, blah, blah. And so they come into marketing campaigns now very skeptical. And so you have to be aware of that. You have to be aware of the typical prospect's mindset. You have to be aware of their psychology, right? And again, you have to make sure that what you say is believed. They're only going to buy if they believe you. They're only going to buy if they believe that your solution will give them the result that they want, period. End of the story, right? They'll only buy if they believe you. And the two best ways to do that, the two most effective ways to make your marketing more believable is number one, specifics, detail, concrete language. And number two is being able to explain how and why your unique mechanism is able to produce the result for them. That is the most powerful way to be able, when you can say, here is why. I don't care what the product or service is. You got a supplement, you got a television. If you want to say that this television is clearer and crisper than anything else out there, and here's why. Here is why. If all we said was, it's cleaner, it's crisper, it's sharper than any other TV, and that's it, well, that's what they expect you to say, right? They don't expect you to say it's the third clearest TV, it's the third sharpest TV out there. That's not what they expect you to say. They expect you to say that it's the cleanest, clearest, sharpest picture image out there, right? But when you say, and here's why it grows greener grass. Here's how it's able to work. Here's what it does in the soil. Here's what it does to the grass. Here's why you're able to get attention. Here's what it does. Here's why it works. Here's how it works. You lead prospects to say, I get it. You speak to both their logical, the intellectual, and the emotional. It's important to understand that today, while, everybody and their brother talks about, people make decisions out of emotion, right? People are driven by emotion. And we are, right? As human beings, we're emotional creatures. We're driven by emotion. And that is absolutely true. But the mistake in when that's talked about is that assumes that means you don't have to have any logical support. That assumes there's this weird kind of thing where people think that means we're driven by emotion. So focus on the emotion and only focus on the emotion, and focus on the emotion absent of the logical side, of the intellectual side. That's not true. Today, more than ever before, you need to give both. Yes, people are driven by emotions. Yes, people make decisions out of emotion, but you have to give the logical support today. There's never been more competition. There's never been more noise. There's never been more offers available to people, right? There's never been more testimonials and case studies among marketers today than ever before. What stands out, what gives them something to hang their hat on, right? What makes them kind of give into that emotion is that logical support. This is why we talk about you want to, like in the lead of your E5 campaign, why you want to set the emotional hook first. You get that emotional buy-in first. Emotional buy-in is very easy. It's very easy to get somebody emotionally hooked, right? But then what they want to know, when you emotionally hook them, they say, this sounds great, but now prove to me why and how it works. Why does it work? Prove to me how and why it works. That's what it is that we just talked about today. And so with that, so there you go. That's all she wrote. Quick, easy, fast, simple for you guys. Now you know the two most effective ways to make your marketing message believable. Of course, if you want our help in doing that, you want to work with me, you want to work with my team, you want to really implement the full E5 method in your business, go to Learn from Todd, schedule a call with one of my guys. They're not hardcore salespeople. They're going to look at your business. They're going to tell you what E5 is all about. And they're going to see if it would be a good fit for you. And then they'll tell you how you can get started. And so one of the most, if not the most valuable things that you can do for your business. I don't want to turn this into a commercial, but the E5 method is an absolute game changer for you. It will be a game changer for you. I promise that, absolutely. And so here's a question that, let me do this real quick. And then, because I would hate to leave without answering a question. So Connor said, what if you have no track record, Todd? So that's okay, right? Like the beauty is that certainly having a track record, having the ability to say, right, like over the last X number of years, I've helped X number of people, or in the financial investing space, my last, I have 99 out of my last 100 trades are winners, right? That's certainly valuable. But the beauty is that even if you don't have a track record, if you're able to explain to somebody why the method that you're talking to them about works, right? It's no longer about you simply claiming that it's effective. You're now giving them an explanation, right? Like you're giving them an explanation of why it works. Right? I don't want to get into, like something political, if you will, but there's a reason why a lot of people have taken a brand new vaccine with no track record, right? Like with no track record. It's brand new, so it doesn't have a track record, of course, right? You don't need a track record. A track record is a plus, but you don't need it. And the fact of the matter is this, I'll tell you that if I had the choice between the two, track record and the ability, or the ability to explain my unique mechanism, I would take my ability to explain my unique mechanism. And the reason why is because let's take the financial investing arena. Everybody and their brother has a track record, right? Like everybody and their brother has a track record. So it doesn't give me anything to hang my hat on, right? And the reality is track record is back looking. Track record is my last 99 trades. I've had, out of my last 100 trades, 99 were winners. Well, the reality is that doesn't mean anything about the next 100 trades, right? And so, right, everybody's got a track record in that field, or the majority of people have a track record, right? But what I really want to know is when somebody's telling this in investment approach vehicle, tell me how it works. Tell me why it works. Give me something intellectually to bank my hope on. Give me some understanding to why I should feel good about this one. Not just your track record, because everybody and their brother in lots of spaces have a track record. And so when you can unpack, here's why it works, and you can explain it so that we lead the prospect to see it and get it, that is insanely, insanely powerful. And so there you go. Like I said, if any of you are on here and you want my help, my team's help, and by the way, the E5 coaching program, man, my team is live every day, Monday through Friday. A different member of my leadership team, not hired coaches outside the company, my marketing team, my chief marketing officer, my chief technology officer. He's available, I believe it's every Friday, to help with integration and automation and software stack and all that. My chief marketing officer is available, I believe it's every Wednesday, to help with copy construction, offer construction, a big idea, lead. Every day, Monday through Friday, there is a different call every single day live, not to mention a brand new monster E5 curriculum. This thing will be a game changer for you. Really, really an absolute game changer. Go to learnfromtodd.com, learnfromtodd.com, schedule an appointment, let one of my guys explain to you how it works, let them look at your business, see if it's a good fit, explain what it would look like to work with us, and and you'll be off to the races. And so thanks so much for hanging out with me. Hope you got some value. The 2 most effective ways to make your marketing more believable. Take care. Talk to you soon.